7 habits that quietly made me a 10x developer. No, not ChatGPT. It's an article written by Abu Baker Idik 771. Quick advertisement that Abu has written. Quick note, I just launched a flash bundle of 4 offline AI tools for creators and devs. Blog outline builder, SEO, article machine, FAQ generator, and docs creator. Instant download, no subscriptions, one-time deal, only until midnight. It used to be $349, but now it's $29. Or download some really cool free guides out here. Just thought I'll show some love to Abu since we're reading his article for free. We've all seen those 10x developer memes. Some idolize them, others roll their eyes. But here's the truth. Becoming a 10x dev isn't about raw genius, working 20 hours a day, or inhaling Red Bull while rewriting the Linux kernel. It's about habits, quiet ones. The kind no one notices until your output starts to look suspiciously high. Here are 7 habits I've cultivated over the past few years that silently upgraded me into a 10x version of my former self. No AI co-pilot required. I think this is such a good attitude to have from me, and I don't think there's any quick fix that makes you 10 times better, but it's just the little habits that you build over time that makes you do things so much faster and more efficient. Number 1, I write code that writes code. No, not LLMs. I mean scripts, generators, and scaffolding tools. I built a habit of automating. Boilerplate files, crude endpoints, testing stubs, even GitHub action workflows. Every project I touched more than twice, I abstracted into a tool. Eventually, I had an internal toolbox that saved me dozens of hours across client and personal projects. Why it's 10 times? You stop solving the same problem twice, you scale your own effort. And I think there's always a fine balance between abstracting things into code and then just doing it once, just quickly and getting it done and over with. And I think being able to know what to do when is a wisdom. And also it's interesting to put emoji in front of each point, because that's very AI-like. Number 2, I always design for future me. I stopped coding just for now and started coding for the person who would read this 6 months later, usually me. That meant descriptive commit messages, clear function names, telling comments, not obvious ones, logical file structures, and most importantly, writing readme files before I started building. This forced clarity. Why it's 10 times? You waste less time deciphering your own work. Future you or your team moves faster. I think documentation is always a good idea. It's something that a lot of us don't bother to do because we don't really think of future us. And also, because it's so obvious to us now, we think it's going to be obvious later on too. It's kind of hard to relate to future us being ignorant of things that we're aware of today. But I've never really regretted having written documents, but I've always regretted having not written documents or having done these things. So yeah, I can definitely get better at this. But I usually skip this because it's a boring part, but yeah, I should get better at this. Number 3, I document before I debug. Before jumping into fixing a bug, I write a short debug log like issue, upload button crashes on Safari, assumption, could be blob incompatibility, plan, 1, replicate on Safari, 2, do something else, 3, do something else. I do this in Notion or in a markdown sketchpad. I've never done this before, and I've never known anyone done this before. So I don't know the effectiveness of it, and from not having done, I can't really guess why this would be 10x. Let's see, why it's a 10x. Writing forces clear thinking, you debug smarter, not harder. This is something that I would just have to try and see if this works. So if you guys have tried this before, and if you hate this or if you love this, let me know. I would love to see other perspectives. Number 4, I built tiny tools for myself. Over time, I built a CLI that batch renames screenshots, a script that turns GitHub repos into PDFs with README, a local keyword scraper for SEO research, a VS Code snippet generator. These were products that were tiny productivity force multipliers. Why it's a 10x? You eliminate dozens of micro pains that compound every day. A CLI that batch renames screenshots. Yeah, I think if these are something that you do every day, then it's definitely worth working on. Number 5, I timebox the deep stuff. I set no code zones for deep work. During this, I don't check Slack, don't open Twitter, don't jump to urgent code reviews. My calendar has 90-minute blocks marked heads down, critical feature only, or tech depth sprint. What's a 10x? Context switching like kills momentum. Timeboxing preserves it. This is something that I started doing this year, in fact. Before, I used to work based on goals. I will set certain goals, to-do lists, and I'll work on them until they're getting checked. But I noticed that by doing it that way, I start procrastinating a lot in between those to-do lists. What I do these days is I time box similar to what it's mentioned here. 2 hours I work on this app. 2 hours I work on this something else, and then 1 hour I take a break, and then so on. And I noticed that during those 2 hours, because it's time limited, I tend to do more. I started doing that after noticing when I wait for someone, say they will be here in 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Sometimes I'm more productive during those times. And then during those times, then when I tell myself, okay, this is the work time. So I thought about why that would be. And I think it's just a bit of a time pressure that I get. So yeah, some people work for them. I believe some people don't. I think some people can work a lot better in other ways, but this is something that worked very well for me. Number 6, I still workflows, not just code. Instead of just copying Stack Overflow answers, I started observing how top GitHub repos structure their CI/CD, how open source projects manage releases, how indie hackers automate their launches. Then I adapted those workflows into my own system. Why it's a 10x? Code is temporary, systems are forever. This is something that I want to get better at, and this is something that I want to learn. But at the same time, I think these are something that is difficult to learn and difficult to implement. Just because you see a code and it's there and you can copy it, you can learn from it, but the processes themselves, I think you need a lot of trial and error. At least that's has been my case, because at the same time as well, every person works differently. So, but I 100% agree with this point. Number 7, I do a weekly retro, even solo. Every Friday I answer 3 questions. What went well? What broke or slowed me down? What will I automate or improve next? This 10-minute ritual helps me find invisible time leaks and get just a little more efficient every week. Why it's 10x? You build self-awareness into your process. Growth becomes inevitable. Yeah, this is again something that I've never really done before. I think self-reflection has been something that I never really found useful. Something I learned when I was young, that I should do it, writing journals and things, but I don't know. Just because when I do that, I feel like I only know as much as I see. So self-reflection seems like I'm grading my own paper kind of thing. And I remember watching this League of Legends coach. He said, you can watch your own replays, but it's not going to help you because you know what you know and you don't know what you don't know. So I can kind of see it from that point of view, that is it really worth doing this? But on the other hand, building self-awareness is a process and you can be better at it, I'm guessing. So yeah, maybe I should do this, but right now, I don't know. Final thoughts. 10x isn't mythical, it's modular. There's no single magic switch. The 10x effect is cumulative. Built through dozens of small improvements, habits, and tools that quietly accelerate you day after day. And no, it doesn't require ChatGPT or superhuman skill, just awareness, consistency, a slight obsession with shaving off time without sacrificing quality, which I believe most developers are, if anything else, too into this. Want to start your own 10x toolbox? I packaged one of my internal tools into a downloadable app, a local offline keyword scraping tool that helps you find the long tail Google suggestions instantly. No login, no rate limits, no fluff. Perfect for SEO, content, or research automation. Keyword Jet, the Google Suggest Scraper offline. Your turn. What's one tiny habit or tool that gave you this proportionate edge as a developer? Drop it below. I would love to steal it with credit, of course. One tiny habit or tool that gave you a disproportionate edge. Trying to think. I think being able to type well. Even working as data scientist, and even now in the field of software engineering, I see a lot of people still typing with their index fingers. And I actually couldn't believe it. And I saw one friend, I thought, whoa, that's crazy. And I thought everyone else was typing like with 4 fingers on ASDF, JKL, and column. But actually, it's more rare to find people that do that than people that type with 2 fingers like that. And that has shocked me. And because for me, that was a given for even anyone that uses some kind of keyboard. But us, we type for a living, so that was really shocking. And right now I'm using Vim Motion, and that's improving how I code. And if you're typing with 2 fingers like that, you can learn Vim Motion, but it's not going to be that useful for you. So that's one tiny habit or that I've always had that I'm shocked to see that's not a given. So let me know what your tiny habit or tool that gave you an edge over as a developer. Before you go, I build tiny tools to save hours on writing, content, and SEO stuff. Just launched a Flash bundle with a full desktop AI tools I use daily. AI blog outline builder, FAQ generator for product pages, bulk SEO article writer, docs generator for your help centers. Runs offline, instant download, no monthly fee. 29 bundle deal ends tonight. Yeah, just wanted to read that so that just as an appreciation for reading this free article. Okay, thanks everyone. That's all. Bye everyone.